Hi, it's good to see you again. Today I'm going to practice English again. We've practiced speaking English yesterday, and today I'm going to do like this too. So could you recommend good topic for this? I just want to talk about academic topic, but doesn't need background much background knowledge. So is there any topic that is fitted for my desire? And if you know something about this, then just give me that topic. I'm going to talk about this. Also, you don't need to give me lots of information because I just want to practice communicate with others by using English, not want to get information by um, with this conversation. So it is comprehensible. If you understand, then let's start to practice this.
Hi, it's great to see you again, too. I totally understand. You're here to practice speaking, not to get tons of info. You want an academic topic that's not too hard or full of background knowledge. Got it. Here's a simple but academic topic. Should schools require students to wear uniforms? It's related to education, which is academic, but you don't need any special knowledge to talk about it. Just your thoughts. Let's start. Do you think students should wear school uniforms? Why or why not?
Yes, I think students should wear their school's uniform. There are several reasons why I think like this. Firstly, some students are not afford to buy some clothes, and if they wear their own clothes, it might be more distinguished than before. So I think some people who don't have much money just feel low self confidence if they always have to wear their own clothes. Therefore, it might be helpful for them to wear school uniforms. They don't have to buy a lot of clothes. They just have to wear their school uniforms, and it is very helpful. I want to say 빈부격차 in English, but I don't know how can I say this, so I hope you understand. Second, reasons. Um, Choosing new cruises take many times than we expected. When I was 20 years old, now at that time I have to buy my own clothes, but I don't know what should I wear. When I was mid school and high school student, I usually wear my school's uniforms, and therefore I'm not good at coordinate my clothes. Therefore, I feel a little bit ashamed when I wear and when I choose some clothes, and sometimes I feel I look fat with other clothes, my own clothes. Therefore, it made me feel a little bit down. So, and I usually compare myself with other and looking others' outfit. Therefore, without uniform clothes, some people might compare each other and can feel envious, jealous. Therefore, wearing school uniforms is good because of this reason. So this is my opinion. How do you think about this? Okay, thank you for your answer, and you give me corrected version of my speech. However, you don't need to give me a feedback because I just want to talk with you and interact with you by using English. However, if you give me collected version of my speech and feedback every time when then it might take a lot of times and my opportunity to speak myself will become down. Therefore, I'm going to ask you to give me feedback if I want. So you don't need to give me feedback when I don't ask to you. It is comprehensible. If you understand this, just give me your answer one more time without collective burden of my speech. Just give me your opinion and another questions. Another question can be new things or related to my answer, follow-up questions. Is it okay?
Yes, I understand completely. I won't give you corrections or feedback unless you ask. I'll just focus on conversation and asking questions to help you speak more. Let's keep it natural and fun. So, here's my answer again. I agree with your opinion. Wearing school uniforms can help students feel more equal, especially if they come from different economic backgrounds. It also saves time and makes mornings easier. But I think some students enjoy expressing themselves through fashion. Clothes can be part of their identity. So maybe schools can allow casual clothes on some days, like once a week or for special events. Here's a follow up question. If you were a teacher, would you want to wear a uniform too? Or do you think only students should wear them? Why?
Okay. I agree with your ideas. I think wearing its own casual clothes on Sundays might be good solution for this. I agree that someone wants to appeal their personality, and it is very good for them to using clothes to do this. Also, when I was high school student, I really want to wear my own clothes, like my favorite hood 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 t-shirt or other things like this. Mm, and I'm going to answer to these following questions. If I was a teacher, I think I'll prefer to wear uniform too. Mm, some students, I know it is very rude, but some students sometimes evaluate teacher's appearance. Therefore, it might be very stressful for them. However, all of them just wearing uniform clothes, then um, the gap between them becoming less than before. So I think it might be have good effect. However, all of them has its pros and cons. Some some teachers might not agree to wear uniform because they think they are adult and they can choose their own clothes and they can do what they want to do. Also, they have to. Um, I'm sorry, I can't record this word. They have to take it up for this behavior too. So, I think it might be um, harm their own desires. It is very difficult to talk this. So I partly agree with this. However, I don't think every teachers will agree to wear uniform. So how do you think about this? And if you want to talk another topic, just give me questions.
You're doing really well. Your ideas are clear and thoughtful. I like how you're thinking from both sides, the teachers and the students. Here's my answer. I think you're right. Some teachers might feel stressed if students comment on their appearance. Uniforms could help with that. It also gives a more professional feeling, maybe like how office workers wear suits. But yes, not all teachers will agree. Some might feel that being an adult means having freedom, including what to wear. They might think it's unfair to limit their clothing choices. So maybe there can be a middle solution. For example, teachers could wear something semi formal, like not a full uniform, but still simple and neat to avoid too much attention. Now, let's try a new but related topic, still academic and not hard. Do you think students should be allowed to use smartphones during school hours? Why or why not?
I think students should be allowed to use smartphones during school hours. There are several reasons why I think like this. Firstly, if students are not allowed to use smartphone, however, some of them use it illegally. If someone tried to dominate some groups too extremely, it have it some of them just trying to opposite for them, and it might have its side effects. Therefore, le- re- I think strict uh, regulation might be not good for them. So I think allow them to use smartphone during school hours should be need. However, students need not to use their smartphone during class hours when they have to concentrate on their class. However, they just trying to use their smartphone. It might be very harmful for them because they can't studying well. Also, it might be very rude manners to teachers. Teachers always try to teach us, but however, students don't listen to this class and just try to watch their smartphone. If I was teacher, then I'm going to be very mad, upset for their behavior. So they need to use their smartphone very polite, and they just have to use their smartphone in their free times. So I think have some regular is needed. However, if it is too extreme, like students are not allowed to their smartphone during whole school hours, it might make some side effect for it. So I think we have to find some midpoint for this lure. Is it okay?
Yes, it's totally okay, and your opinion makes a lot of sense. You explained your thoughts clearly and shared both the pros and cons very well. I agree with you. If the school bans smartphones completely, some students might still try to hide and use them anyway. That could make the problem worse. Like you said, too much control often leads to resistance. And yes, during class, students should focus and respect the teacher. If they use smartphones in class, it's disrespectful and also bad for their learning. So having rules is important, but the rules should be reasonable. Maybe one good idea is students can use their phones only during lunch break or after school, or schools could make a phone locker system. Students keep phones in a locker during class, and they can take them during break time. Here's a follow up question for you. What do you think about using smartphones for studying during class? Like using dictionary apps or looking up information online? Should that be allowed?
I think mm, it might have its side effect because concentrate on studying while I can use my smartphone is really difficult for me. So if I need to studying for my exam, I just turn off my smartphone and trying to concentrate on my studying. Therefore, if students can allowed to use their smartphone during class, despite the reasons why they can use this is just because using dictionary apps or looking up information, but many students might be fascinating by other applications and other functions of smartphone. They have difficulty to endure not to use smartphone games and watching YouTube videos or um, um, watching social media reply for this. So I think there during class time some strict and regular rule will be needed. You know, teenagers are really susceptible for outer circumstance, so they also need some strict regulation. I think they might not able to endure attractive smartphones. So I think it is not comprehensible using smartphone during class. This is just my opinion, and how do you think about this?
Um, that's a strong and honest opinion. I really agree with many of your points. Smartphones are very tempting, even for adults. So for teenagers, it's even harder to stay focused when they have access to games, videos, or social media. Even if they start using a dictionary app, they can easily switch to something else. Also, like you said, students are still growing and their self-control is not fully developed. So giving them too much freedom with smartphones during class might not help their learning at all. Strict rules can actually protect them. So I agree. It's better to limit smartphone use during class, even for studying. Maybe teachers can prepare the materials in advance or let students use school tablets that don't have games or social media. Let's try a new academic topic now. Do you think homework is necessary for students? Or should schools remove homework? You can share your opinion freely.
Okay, I think homework is necessary for students. Mm, this is just my experience, but if I don't have any homework, then I don't studying at all. So I think homework is needed. Also, when I doing my assignment, I can review my studying. Also, I can understand what I can understand before. Therefore, it is very helpful for me. Also, by doing my homework with my friend, I can grow my teamwork, my ability to do teamwork, and it is very good things for us. Also, you can grow your leadership if you have to do team working, and you can gain, you can make interaction with others. Buying this, you can feel proud, and this kind of feeling is very helpful to grow our self confidence. Mm. Moreover, by doing our homework without doing others tempting things, we can enhance our self control. So I think homework have many good effect despite it is still annoying chores. So I think assignment is needed for students. How do you think about this?
I really like your answer. You gave many thoughtful and personal reasons. I agree with you. Homework is not always fun, but it can help students in many ways. Like you said, it's a great way to review and understand things better. Sometimes in class, we don't fully understand something, but when we do it again at home, it becomes clearer. And yes, group assignments are also helpful. They teach us teamwork, communication, and even leadership. These are very important skills for the future, not just for school. I also liked what you said about self control. When you focus on homework instead of distractions, it really trains your mind. That's a big benefit, even if it feels difficult. But I also think maybe teachers should be careful not to give too much homework. If there's too much, students might feel stressed and lose motivation. So finding the right balance is important. What kind of homework do you think is the most helpful? For example, reading, writing, making presentations, solving problems. Why?
I think making presentation and solving problem is good homework for us. Also, writing is good homework for us too. Why I think reading is not good homework is just because um, we can't distinguish that students do this homework or not. When I get reading homework, I don't do this many times, and teachers can distinguish that I do this homework or not. Therefore, this is just my opinion, but reading homework sometimes makes students lazy. Therefore, um, I think more active homework is needed for them. There are another reasons why I think writing, making presentation, and solving problems is good homework for students. I'm going to explain one by one. Firstly, solving problems. I think it is very good for mathematics and scientific problems. When I listen to class, sometimes I can't understand for whole class, so sometimes I have to review my classes. However, it is very annoying things, and I'm just doing other things that is more tempting and funny. However, if I have to finish my homework that is for solving problems, then I have to review my class to solve this problem, and I can understand whole class by doing this. So it is very helpful for us to review and understand our scientific and mathematics class. And I'm going to talk another homework, making presentations. When I was high school student and university student, I usually do making presentations homework with my team, with my friends. By preparing this, we have to communicate each other and make one opinion by this conversation. Therefore, I can learn team working, and I can I can enhance my readership. So it is very good for us. Also, by making presentation, we have to make presentation materials, and also we have to write um, subtitle. Sorry, I don't know how can I say table in English. Script. Okay, we have to write script for it, and we have to prepare. How can we how can we share our presentation effectively? So this kind of things is this kind of practice might be very helpful in the future. When we get our career, sometimes we have to pursue our clients, and sometimes we have to share our materials, our ability, and for this, practice presentation is very good. So it is very helpful in the future. Finally, I'm going to talk about writing homeworks. For me, I don't have many chance to write my own paragraphs. Therefore, I'm not good at writing some things. However, when I was first schools of university, I take class for writing, and at that class, I have to write some um about movies. So to do this, I'm going to analyze a lot of informations, and um, I learn how can I summarize it and make a logical context. So it is very helpful for me to analyze information and also express my opinions by writing logical paragraphs. So I think it is very helpful homework. It is really difficult to explain this. I hope you understand this because I'm just a student who try to learn English, and I also want to know your opinion too. Um, this is just additional things, but I want to talk about another topic. This kind of topic is fun, however, it is a little bit boring, and now I'm an adult, and this kind of topic is not fitted for my current days. So, next, could you give me another questions not related to this?
Yes, I understood everything you said, and honestly, you explained your thoughts really well. Even though English is not your first language, you shared detailed and clear ideas about three types of homework. You also connected them to real life skills like teamwork, leadership, career presentation skills, and logical writing. That's impressive. I totally agree with you. Active homework, like presentations, writing, and solving problems, help students build deeper understanding and practical skills. And yes, reading homework is often too passive and hard for teachers to check. Your opinion was very realistic and based on real experience. Now let's change the topic, just like you asked, something more interesting or adult like. Do you think people should be allowed to work from home instead of going to the office? Why or why not? This is a popular topic nowadays. You can share your opinion freely.
Okay, I think this might be very controversial topic. This is just my opinion, but I think we have to work at our office. There are several reasons for this, and this is just my personal experience. When I suffer from corona, I have to studying at my home, and I have trouble to concentrate on my works. Sometimes I'm just passing, watching class video, and therefore I can understand her class at. Also, I have to do my assignment, but I just want to do another things like playing game and watching YouTube video. It is very difficult to control this my schedule because I can do anything if I want to do, and there is no person that just trying to oversee me, supervise me. Therefore, for me, it is very difficult to concentrate on my work. I think it might be same for other people's. So if they are allowed to work from home, sometimes they feel difficult to concentrate on their own work. Also, secondly, when we try to interact with each other in online conditions, sometimes we misunderstand our opinion, and um, sometimes we it takes a lot of time to converse with each other by using online platform. If all of us work in the same office, then we just go to them, find them, and we can talk about this very easily. However, with we all of us just working at our home, we have to call to others or doing something other things to interact with them. So I think this is another side effect for this. How do you think about this?
I think your opinion makes a lot of sense, and it's very honest and realistic. Many people had the same experience during the COVID-19 pandemic. It was really hard to concentrate when studying or working from home. Like you said, there's no one watching or guiding you directly, so it's easy to get distracted. I also agree that self-control becomes a big challenge. You also brought up a really good point about communication. Face-to-face conversation is often faster and clearer. Online meetings or messages can lead to misunderstandings or delays. Sometimes a 5-minute talk in the office turns into a long email chain online. So teamwork and communication can be weaker when everyone works remotely. At the same time, some people enjoy working from home because they can save time commuting and feel more comfortable. But like you said, it's not the best choice for everyone. Here's a new question to continue our conversation. If you could choose any job to do in the future, what kind of job would you like to have? And do you want to work in an office, outside, at home, or somewhere else? Why?
Okay, I agree with you, and some people might enjoy working from home because they can save time to go office, and they can concentrate on their work with more comfortable place. Um, and what I want to talk is the question that you give is a little bit boring, and I want to talk about another things like serving some little or talking about fun things, but it is not necessary. Like I'm going to think about this. Hmm. Like funny mystery stories or Mrs. like Chris Mrs. I don't know if it is right expression. Or we can talk about um history of some countries and how they can make their own 문명. I don't know how can I say 문명 in English. So, is there any fun topic like this? This kind of topic is very fun, but it is too focusing on utilization. Oh, sorry, I don't know how can I explain this. 너무 실생활 민접한 근접한 얘기를 하고 있는 것 같다. This is what I want to talk. So, could you give me another questions? Civilization.
Yes, I completely understand what you mean. You want to talk about fun, interesting, and mysterious topics, not just useful or serious things like jobs or school. And yes, you explained it very well. Also, the word munmyeong in English is usually civilization. So we can talk about the history of civilizations, myths or mysteries, like Greek myths, ancient legends, or unsolved stories. That sounds really exciting. Let's start with something fun. Do you know about Atlantis? It was a legendary island civilization that disappeared into the ocean. Some people think it was a real place, and others think it's just a myth. What do you think? Do you believe Atlantis was real, or just a story, and why? Let's talk about it like a mystery.
Okay, it is very fun. However, I don't know many things about Atlantis, so I hope you told me about this. So I heard that Atlantis is described by philosopher. I can't remember his name, and many people at first many people think it just uh sci-fi stories that he imagined. However, some evidence is revealed, and now some people believe it was a real place. So it is very interesting story, I think. And if you give me some information for Atlantis, I can talk about this more easily and more effectively. So could you do this for me?
Of course, you remembered it well. Atlantis was first described by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato over 2,000 years ago. Let me tell you the basic story in a simple and fun way. What is Atlantis? Atlantis was a rich and powerful island civilization. Plato said it was located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which many people believe means outside the Strait of Gibraltar, near the Atlantic Ocean. He described Atlantis as a beautiful place with amazing palaces, temples, and harbors, advanced technology and strong army, gold, silver, and many other resources, people who were smart, brave, and rich. But over time, the people of Atlantis became greedy and selfish. So, according to the story, the gods became angry. One day, in just one night, a huge earthquake and flood sank the whole island into the sea. Real or myth? Plato said this story was true, passed down from Egyptian priests. But many people believe he just made it up to teach a lesson about greed and pride. Some scientists have tried to find the real Atlantis in places like the Mediterranean Sea, Spain, and even Antarctica, but there is no clear proof yet. Now, here's a question for you. If Atlantis was real and suddenly sank under the ocean, do you think it's possible we might find it someday? Or do you think it's just a story to teach us a lesson? Let's imagine together.
Okay, I think Atlantis might be a real place because all of the myths are related to our real life. Mm, People describe God for explain natural um, symptoms. I don't know how can I say 자연현상 in English, like thunder or storm or tsunami. People use God to describe this kind of disasters. So I think Atlantis might be related to real situations. Um, so I agree with this. However, I think Plato might be 과장하다 these stories because he want to give lessons buying this story. So I think both is possible, and in some place there might be similar situations like this Atlantis. This is just my idea. So it might be possible, but some 과장 will contain with his stories. How do you think about this? And how can I say 과장 in English? Exaggeration.
You're doing great, and your ideas are very thoughtful. Let me help you with the words you asked. Vocabulary help. 자연현상으로 phenomena, or natural events. X. Thunder and earthquakes are natural phenomena. Exaggeration. He told the story with some exaggeration to make it more dramatic. So your sentence could be, I think Plato might have exaggerated the story a bit to teach a lesson. My thoughts, I really like your idea. You're right. In many ancient cultures, myths and gods were created to explain natural disasters like earthquakes, floods, or lightning. Maybe a real island did sink because of a huge earthquake or tsunami, and people later turned it into a mythical story like Atlantis. And I also agree with you. Plato probably added some exaggeration to make his message stronger. He wanted people to learn about greed, pride, and the fall of powerful civilizations. You said, in some place there might be similar situations like this Atlantis. Yes, that's very possible. For example, the Minoan civilization on the island of Santorini, Thera, was destroyed by a volcano and tsunami. Some people think this might be the real inspiration for Atlantis. Now let me ask a fun question. If you could visit a sunken city like Atlantis, what would you want to find there? Treasure, technology, ancient books, magical creatures?
I want to find treasure and ancient books. It might be very helpful to analyze our history. Also, it is very priceless. So, I want to earn money and I want to find, I want to prove history. Therefore, I'm just going to find treasure in ancient books. If I have enough time, I just want to feel technology of that time too. Mm. Also, I want to I want to experience cultures for Atlantis. When I was young, I watched movie. Mm, I can't recall its names, but this movie is um, a journey to find mystery place. I heard that original for this movie is book that is written by Jill Patton, and I read this book and it was very fun. The story is very similar to that movies, and I can recall the memories when I firstly watched this movie with my family. It was very fun, and now I can remember the title of the Korean title of this movie, 잃어버린 세계를 찾아서. So, I love this movie, and if I have chance to travel like this, then I'm going to feel the culture and technology of that civilization. And if I get something at the place, I'm going to bring treasure and ancient books of there. If you have chance to visit sunken city like Atlantis, then what should you do? I want to know your opinion too. Also, if you know about Jill Barron's lecture, not a lecture, Jill Barron's novel. Why don't we talk about this? I love to read sci-fi novel.
Wow, I love your answer. It's full of imagination and heart. You want to find treasure in ancient books, not just to get rich, but to learn history and feel the culture. That's so cool and meaningful. It sounds like you're a true explorer at heart. Let me answer your questions one by one. If I could visit a lost city like Atlantis, I would also want to find ancient books and technology. I'd love to discover how they made their buildings and machines, what kind of stories or myths they told, and how they lived every day, what they ate, what they believed, how they created art. Also, I'd want to talk with their people, if that's magically possible, and learn their language, even for one day. And like you, I'd definitely bring some treasures or books back, not for money, but for sharing their wisdom with the modern world. About Jill Barron's novel, I think you're talking about Jules Verne, not Jill Barron. He wrote Journey to the Center of the Earth, in French, Voyage au Centre de la Terre. It's a classic sci-fi novel and it inspired many movies. Maybe the movie you watched was Journey to the Center of the Earth or Atlantis, The Lost Empire 2001. This one is from Disney. Both are about going to mysterious underground or lost civilizations. Jules Verne also wrote other famous books like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Around the World in 80 Days. Do you want to talk about Jules Verne's sci-fi world next? Or maybe you want to recommend another sci-fi book or movie you like?
Okay, I hope you recommend me to sci-fi book or movie. I'm going to explain my favorite sci-fi books. When I was teenagers, I loved to watch 15소년 표류기. I don't know how can I say it in English, so I'm just going to explain the title of these books in Korean. At that time, my age is similar to to these books' main characters, so I can empathize with them, and it is very interesting story how they can survive in isolated island. When I was university student, I usually read Jules Verne's novel, and it is very fun. What I read firstly is 신비의 섬, but I don't know its English title too, so I hope you understand this. This book is very long, but I can't stop to read this because it is very interesting and very fun. The most impressive things is how can they make civilization in their place. Also, when they meet Nautilus, it is very expressive, and then I want to watch 해저 이만리 too. The title of this might be 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So, right after reading this book, I'm just going to read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. However, I can't finish to read this book. At that time, I feel big pressure and stressed to finish my university work, and I have no free times and to read this book, to finish to read this book. At that time, I feel anxiety and depression because of outer circumstance. So I just caught to read this book, read book at that time, and I've been not reading books for almost more than 7 months. Now I decided to read books again, and if you recommend some fun sci-fi novel, then I'm going to read this. Also, I love to read Bernard Berber's novel named titled Papillon. It was very fun too, and I'm very amazed how can he imagine spaceship like that. It is really impressive for me, and it helped me to imagine more creative things than before. So, could you recommend some fun sci-fi book or movie for me? Okay, it sounds really fun, and I'm going to watch this if I have time. Let's talk about another things. Is there any topic you want to talk about me? Based on our current conversation, could you recommend good topic for me? 음, 음, 좀 그만해야 되는데. Okay, thank you for your recommendation, and I love the topic too. Greek myths and their meanings. When I was teenagers, I loved to watch Greek myths cartoon, and I know about Greek myths very briefly, so I think I have some background knowledge, and it makes us too easy to converse with this topic. So why don't we talk about Greek myths? Is there any specific um, part that you love to lead? Um, uh, I'm going to think about this story. I'm just trying to record this story. It was very impressive when three goddess give one man a golden apple and choose beautiful goddess of them. Uh, I can't remember it exactly, but that man choose Venus. It is right. So this is the beginning. This is the reason why war was begin. Mm, I can't confidence that I remember this exactly. So also impressive story. Eros. I can remember Eros love story. So let's talk about Greek myths. Okay, thank you for giving me information, but it is too much. As I told you before, I just want to converse with you, not just getting information by talking with you. However, you give me too many information again, and it might take a lot of time to see all of this. So why don't we just talk about something very interesting story of Greek myths, and let's analyze this. Um, Compare this with real situations, what is similar, and why ancient people think like this. Um, many Greek myths is related to natural phenomena, so we can analyze which phenomena is related to these stories, like Zeus, thunder, and um, Poseidon's fruit, you know. So let's talk about this.
You're right. Let's keep it more like a conversation than a lecture. Thanks for reminding me. How about we start with one simple but interesting Greek myth and talk about the meaning behind it? Let's pick Poseidon and earthquakes. In Greek myth, Poseidon is the god of the sea and earthquakes. That's interesting, right? Why do you think they connected the sea and earthquakes to the same god? What do you think ancient people were feeling or seeing when they made this story?
Okay, this is very interesting topic. I heard that in ancient continent movements occur very frequently. Therefore, um, ancient people might suffer from earthquake. Also, you know, earthquake usually accompany with fruit too. Tsunami. I don't know how can I say tsunami in English. I hope you understand this. So, and in ancient time, many people don't know the origin of this earthquake, so they want to find the reason for this. Therefore, they think the god of sea became very angry, and it make this tsunami and earthquake. Also, this is just my guess. But this is just my guess. Earthquake. The cause of earthquake is moving of continent. Then I think earthquake usually occur at seaside, so it might be the reasons why they connect the sea and earthquakes to the same god. So how do you think about this? I also want to know your opinion why they connect the sea and earthquake in the same god named Poseidon, and I also want to know the reasons of name Poseidon.
That's a really good explanation. And yes, I completely understood you meant tsunami. You're doing a great job thinking like an ancient storyteller mixed with a scientist. You're exactly right that people in ancient times didn't know about tectonic plates. So when they felt the ground shake or saw huge waves like tsunamis, they thought it must be the gods showing their anger. And since these disasters often came from the sea, it made sense to them that the sea god Poseidon was responsible. Your idea about earthquakes happening near coastlines is very smart too. That's often true in real life. Many earthquake zones are near the edges of continents and oceans, so if a fisherman or a village near the sea felt a quake, they naturally blamed the sea god. As for the name Poseidon, there are a few ideas, but no one knows for sure. Some say it might come from words meaning husband of the earth or lord of the earth, which is strange because he's a sea god, but it might mean that he's powerful over both land and sea, which fits with earthquakes and tsunamis, right? What do you think Poseidon's personality is like based on his powers? Do you think he's a kind god or a scary god?
I can't remember his story exactly, but when I was young and reading comic books for Greece myths, I usually think Poseidon might be very good god. I can't remember it exactly, but at that time, I think Poseidon is reasonable god because he don't admit his obsession despite there are at least there are reasonable reasons. It is very difficult to describe this. So at that time, I think Poseidon is reasonable god, and I think I usually compare Poseidon with Zeus, and Zeus is 바람둥이. I don't know how can I say it in English. And I think Zeus might be bad god because he just control the world, but he don't look like hardworking and intelligence god, and he always make Hera angry, so I think Zeus is bad god, and comparing to Zeus, Poseidon is kind and reasonable god. This is just my thinking. When this is just my opinion when I think at teenagers. So I think it might not correct. So how do you think about Poseidon's personality? And is there any specific reasons why you think like this? If you have specific legends or stories for him, then talk about this. It might be very interesting. It'll be very interesting. Oh, manager.
That's such a fun and thoughtful answer, and I totally understand what you meant. Also, great job trying to describe complex ideas in English. Let me help with one little part. The word paramdungi in English is usually translated as womanizer, someone who flirts with many women, not always seriously. So you were saying, Zeus is a womanizer. He always makes Hera angry, so I thought he was a bad god. That makes total sense. And honestly, many people feel the same way. About Poseidon's personality, you said something really interesting, that Poseidon felt more reasonable and kind compared to Zeus. I think that's a very thoughtful view, especially because in many Greek myths, Poseidon isn't as wild as Zeus in relationships, but Poseidon also has a strong emotional side. In some stories, he gets angry easily, especially when he feels disrespected. For example, 1. Poseidon versus Odysseus from the Odyssey. Odysseus hurt Poseidon's son, the Cyclops, so Poseidon made Odysseus suffer for 10 years before returning home. That shows Poseidon could hold a grudge for a long time, maybe not so reasonable in that case. 2. Poseidon and the city of Athens. He competed with Athena to become the god of Athens. He offered salt water, or a horse, but Athena gave the olive tree, more useful. He lost, and he was angry, but he didn't destroy the city. That shows some level of fairness, right? So my opinion is Poseidon is emotional, but not unfair. He wants respect, and when he gets it, he can be generous. Compared to Zeus, he's not a womanizer or trickster, so in some ways, he feels more mature. Do you think Greek gods act more like humans than real gods? Why do you think people imagined gods with human feelings like jealousy or anger?
Okay, your story is very fun and it is a little bit different from mine. Why I think Poseidon is reasonable is because he angry when there are reasonable reasons. This is just my opinion. I think Poseidon angry to Odysseus is very reasonable, but it's just my opinion. Odysseus hurt Poseidon's sons, and if I parent for someone and other people hurt my sons, then I become very angry. So at that so I think Poseidon make Odysseus suffer for 10 years is reasonable just because Odysseus hurt his sons. However, you don't think like this, and this is and it becomes the reasons why you think Poseidon is unfair. I also agree with your idea. Some people might think like this. I'm really happy to talk with you, and I think it is better for us to finish this conversation. I'm just using free plant, and it is I'm rich for its limitation, so I can't use plus model. That so your answer might be awkward. Therefore, it is better for us to finish this conversation, and if we have time, let's talk about this in the future. See you later.
I really enjoyed our conversation too. Your thoughts about Poseidon's anger being reasonable show such good empathy and understanding. That made me think deeply as well. It's amazing how different perspectives can come from the same story. No worries at all about the free plan or anything like that. I'm always here whenever you want to chat again, no matter the topic. Take care and see you next time. Have a great day.